Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Lynette, and today we're going to talk about it's not my business what others do. But before we get started on that, I would like to go over what we talked about the last couple weeks. The first week we discussed it's okay to glance at the past, but don't stare. One experience that I had that reminds me of this is that when I was first diagnosed and I pretty much had to stop life as I knew it, I decided to write a book. And I even had a title for my book. It was going to be called On the Shelf. That was perfect title for the way that I felt. I felt like a dusty book that was left on the shelf because nobody wanted to read it anymore. Because I couldn't keep up with anyone. I couldn't do what others expected of me. So I was feeling like an old book left on the shelf. However, I decided not to write the book because I didn't want to relive my past. It was too painful. It was bad enough going through it the first time. Why would I want to go through it again a second time? And that's how life is. The past is the past. It's over. It's done. Look forward to new beginnings. Life is full of wonderful experiences. Let the past go. It's okay to glance at it because sometimes we have to pull certain lessons that we learn. But don't stare. Don't live in the past. Just let it go. The second week we discussed do not depend on anyone to make you happy. An experience that I want to share with you regarding that is it's kind of a minor one. It's kind of a funny one. And that is Valentine's Day. Year after year, I wanted See's candy for Valentine's. Year after year, I got disappointed. Until finally I said to myself, I'm going to buy myself a box of chocolates from See's Candy. And not only did I buy a box of chocolates, but it had to be a box of chocolates that was in a beautiful heart-shaped box. So I did that. I cleaned the table. I set the box of chocolates in front of me, and I enjoyed my chocolates all day long. And it was one of the first Valentines that at the end of the day, I was not frustrated. I got what I wanted. I didn't depend on anyone else. I made myself happy. So even though that is a very minor experience to share with you, it's basically how things are in life. If we want something, we need to do it ourselves. We cannot depend on someone else. Because if you depend on someone else, that's trying to control them. We cannot control anyone else, and if we try, we get frustrated. Frustration leads to depression. With that being said, there is a lot of freedom to not depending on others to make you happy. You need to do it yourself. Now we're going to talk about the topic that this week is all about, and that is not my business what others do. When we care about someone and we hear a decision they've made or the way they're going to handle something, we think, oh my gosh, why aren't they doing it this way? Well, first of all, what's to say that our way is the right way? And especially if it's something that affects you, then your first feeling is to talk to somebody else about it. And by talking to somebody else about it, it turns into gossip. And I don't know if you've noticed, but when you gossip about someone, you might initially feel better because you're getting it off your chest. But then in the long run, you don't feel good. There's something about it that brings you down. If you practice not talking about other people, you will find that you rid yourself of guilt, you rid yourself of a heavy feeling, and you become more of a person who loves others. I certainly don't expect you to hold in things that are truly bothering you. And my hope would be that you have a friend, a confidant that you can talk to about things that are serious, that seriously bother you. But if it's minor things, there's a lot of freedom to not talking about others. I remember on Oprah Winfrey, she said something about everybody just wants to be accepted. And it's so true. Others make their decisions on their life experiences. We make our decisions on our life experiences. No one's to say who's right, who's wrong. It just is. With that being said, it actually works both ways. Somebody should not talk about what decisions you make or what you do or try to tell you what you should be doing. That reminds me of an experience I had several years back. I was invited to Lake Tahoe with a girlfriend. When I think about that trip, instead of thinking of the beauty of Lake Tahoe, I think about what somebody had said to me the day before. Either they said it to me or about me. I can't remember at this point. But it was in my head, and I could picture myself thinking really strongly about what was said to me or about me, instead of enjoying where I was at. But we really don't have any control about what others think about us or say about us. The only control we have is what we think and say about others. With that being said, there is a lot of freedom to just let others be. And when you find yourself judging what decisions they make, you can say to yourself, not my business what others do. Or you can shorten it and just say, not my business. There's a lot of freedom to that. In fact, when other people were going through hard times, I used to get all wrapped up in feeling sorry for them. The truth of the matter is, they may not have felt as badly as I thought they felt. You know, in life, none of us escape going through lessons, going through trials. So no matter if it's a decision that someone has made that you think is wrong, or even if somebody is going through something, certainly don't turn your back on them. But realize that they are going through an experience based on their life, not yours. And in doing so, there's a lot of freedom. It takes a lot of weight off of you to realize what others do is not your business or your responsibility to change it or change them. My goal here is to hopefully shorten your trial by giving you experiences that I've had that have been tried and true and make me feel at peace, make me feel like I can see things a lot more clearly. My mother once told me about, it was either a vision or a dream, I can't remember, but it was something about she saw a blanket being pulled up over someone and it stopped at their neck and only their head was exposed. And the words came to her that said, heal the mind and the body will follow. Well, when she told me about this, I was pretty young. And so it went in one ear and out the other, as we often do when our parents tell us something. But now that I'm older and I'm experiencing this situation, I realize that is so true. I think healing comes from the inside out, whether it be physical, emotional, or mental. We've got to get our thoughts on track. And I certainly think that these three that I've discussed with you so far are a very good start. My goal is that you will hear some of the experiences that I had, some of the epiphanies that I've gotten, and they will make your life just that much easier. And consequently, I hope your body will then start to heal. I know that our bodies do react to what's going on in our heads. Several years ago, I had somewhat of a long-term situation that I had to go through. And as it went on, I found myself having more and more physical difficulty. It was like my body was shutting down. It didn't want to deal with this anymore. But unfortunately, I had to keep going forward and pursuing it. That's when I learned the importance of processing things correctly in our own brain, our own mind, is the key for making a healthy body. With that being said, I hope you will practice this week until we meet again next week, telling yourself, not my business what other people do. Or if you want to shorten it, you can just say, not my business. When you start to think of someone, especially when you start to think of them in terms of judgment, tell yourself, not my business. All of this is like a quick way to meditate. Like especially, you can glance at the past but don't stare. It brings you right back to the present moment, and that's exactly what meditation does. When you start to dwell on, not my business what other people do, brings you right back to the present moment, takes you off your fixation on what they're doing. So with that being said, I hope you will continue to practice these three things. 1, it's okay to glance at the past, but don't stare. 2, do not depend on anybody to make you happy. And 3, it's not my business what other people do. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and I'll look forward to talking to you next week. Bye-bye.